Yo, what's up, peeps? It's your boy, typical security guard, finishing up my evening shift. Gonna be heading home soon. Just wanted to do a quick video. Had a subscriber question. I need some energy here. Hang on a second. Two questions. Question number one was, do women, and specifically smaller, more petite women, can they make good security guards? And I thought that was a great question because, I mean, of course, right? I think that a lot of times people, well, let me back up. There's a lot of things that come with working in security in general, right? So you have the issues of the lack of respect. You have the issues of the lack of authority, the lack of ability to enforce, laws or policy, all of the negative things that come along with working in private security. That is going to be the same across the board, no matter what, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you identify as non-binary, you're going to deal with a lot of these same issues. It's not going to change based on your gender. Okay. I will say that everything that you bring to the table working in private security is going to be of some benefit, and everything that you bring to the table is going to be somewhat of a hindrance. Let me explain. If you are a larger person like myself, I'm 6'2", I'm approximately 265 to 275, depending on the day, right? That you can also couple with the fact that I have over 30 tattoos, right? I'm a big person, I'm a big guy, I have a very big presence. That is a positive in some regards, and it's also a negative. So in situations where I have to defend myself, I have to go hands-on in a situation to defend or protect someone that I'm working for or working with or around, having that size, having that weight, that size, that height, that's a benefit, right? A lot of times I don't have to deal with a lot of physical situations because just my presence alone can kind of squash a lot of that shit. I don't say that to act like I'm the toughest guy in the room, because I'm not, right? And I utilize a lot of de-escalation. I do everything I can to never put myself in that situation where I have to go hands-on. But if that were the case, I have somewhat of an advantage in terms of the size that I bring to the table, right? The flip side of that is that I have to be aware of my size. I have to be aware of my presence. I have to be aware of how I look. The fact that I have all of these visible tattoos, along with the height, along with the weight, along with that presence. And I have to be very conscious and cognizant of that when I'm approaching people, specifically when I'm approaching smaller people, when I'm approaching smaller females, when I'm approaching elderly people, if I'm in the vicinity or in proximity to teenagers or children, anything that I have to potentially interact with, anybody that I have to potentially talk to, deal with, or chastise, I have to be aware of my size, right? Not being aware of that can put me in a situation where I end up on that Summer Jam screen, just like the dude up in Seattle. I'm not trying to be that. So I have to be very aware of optics. Someone who is the complete polar opposite of that, we have, a couple of guys that work here. These are guys that are like 5'5", guys that are like 5'6", 115 pounds, 135 pounds. We have some smaller guys that work here. Now, when they are dealing with people in a negative capacity, when they're having to tell someone to stop doing something or try to remove them from the store, there's generally a lot more pushback, right? One of the law enforcement officers that I know, Big Diesel TV, he's got his own channel here. He's a chief of police down in North Carolina. I think it was him, or it might have been the strip club bouncer. I can't remember. But one of the guys who has a lot of experience working in law enforcement, working in security, he's a bigger guy. Now I know who it is. Yeah, it was my guy at the strip club. He was saying that people are more willing to try to get over or threaten the smaller security guard. Like, you're more likely going to have a guy who's on the fence. If he's thinking about being aggressive, if he's thinking about fighting, he's more than likely going to do it with the smaller guy. That just goes without saying, right? He's less likely to try that shit with a bigger guard. So the guys that work for this company that are a little bit smaller, they deal with more upfront negativity, more upfront pushback than maybe someone my size would, right? Now, a female, where you might think a female is in a less desirable position working in an environment like where I'm at, I got to tell you, I think that the women that work in my company have a great, I don't want to say a great experience, but like their presence, their calming demeanor for the most part, the women that work in the company that I work for, they seem to get a lot of compliance. Now, you have to keep in mind that the people that are in the vicinity of the area that we work in, you know, you're talking about people that are addicted to drugs, people that are homeless, people that are dealing with mental illness. So I think that in a situation where people are hurting, where people are, you know, sometimes at the worst possible point in their life, absolutely downtrodden, absolutely just, I think broken is probably the best way to say it. I think in that type of environment, female guards serve an amazing purpose. I don't want to pigeonhole a female guard and say, okay, just because she's a female, she's more nurturing. Just because she's a female, she's more empathetic. Just because she's a female, she's more sympathetic. But to a large degree, that has been the experience. That has been the experience. And for people who are primarily living in a horrible state, and when I say horrible state, I don't mean Oregon, I mean like their state of living, they cling to and they have a connection to a mother figure. So I think that, and I'm making a generalization here, the type of nature and nurture that female guards that I have seen, that I have worked with, their interaction with people in our environment has been an absolute godsend. So if you're a smaller female, if you are, you know, if you're thinking about getting into private security, don't allow your size or your stature to put you in a position to where you feel that you can't bring something to the table, even in like an armed capacity or working in a more dangerous environment. When I was working in the prison system, the female prison guards were very beneficial in a lot of the same way that I'm talking about female guards in a security capacity. I think it's a great idea. Now, that being said, don't rely on that to be the end all be all get out of jail free card, because you're still going to have to be able to carry your weight in terms of what's required in your job. You're still going to be responsible for defending yourself if things go to a point where you have to go hands on. Your size and your stature can't be any more of a hindrance to you to actually do the job than it is to the guys that work in this team, in this environment, that are also a little bit smaller, right? So that is the negative drawback. You have a benefit. You bring something to the table that is so needed in this environment and that is so beneficial to the team. However, you are still responsible for being able to protect yourself and pull your own weight. That's very important to understand that. Give me 1 second. Another subscriber question that I got today was a little bit more, I don't want to say dark, but this person said, like, how did he say it? I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, I'm 49 years old. Should I just prepare to die working in security? And then he went on to say that he recently got his degree and he has applied for all of these jobs based on the degree that he has, right? but that he feels like working in security over the past 10 years that no one wants to hire him. Even though he has this degree, even though he's bettered himself educationally, he feels that when people look at his resume and they see that he works in private security and he's not working armed security, he's working unarmed security, that they don't see that as being a decent enough career. And so that he's not getting any callbacks, right? And he feels pretty bad about himself. He feels pretty beat up. Man, like this really hit home because like I literally just finished up my degree in March. My degree came in the mail like, 3 weeks ago. I'm 40, I'll be 46 next month. Like that whole dynamic of him talking about, man, like I thought that I would be able to just go out and get my degree and my life would change. And it hasn't. And I thought that I could apply for these jobs and I have this degree and it would be a door opener for me. And it hasn't, right? So I resonated with that. But to hear him say, like, should I just relegate myself to dying in security? Bro, absolutely not. So I'm going to give you some advice as somebody who is very much in a similar situation. I hope that you take this advice and I hope that you hear where I'm coming from. Number one, you have to give it some time. I know that you want this change to happen immediately. I know that you want these doors to open for you quickly, but that's not how things work. And right now, more than any time, like there's more people that have degrees, more people that are willing to switch careers and work different jobs. There's more people in the market probably than there's ever been. So it's a situation where every entity, every job that's out there, they literally have the pick of the litter. And most people, if given the opportunity, they're generally going to pick younger, more moldable, more teachable type of individuals to take those positions, right? If you have a company and you want that company to be successful for the next 5 to 10 years, if possible, if you're 49, maybe they go with the 35-year-old. Maybe that gives them a little bit more time to get work time, work life out of this individual. That person is a little bit more coachable, a little bit more moldable. Now, is that something that you at 49 want to hear? Is that something that me at 46 wants to hear? Absolutely not. But there are other companies out there, there's other industries out there that would appreciate what you bring to the table in terms of maturity, work ethic, your ability to rise above. I mean, if you are like me and you went back to school later in life, more than likely you're paying for it out of pocket. More than likely you're doing that while you're working a job, while you're raising a family, while you're paying a mortgage. Like you are demonstrating the type of work ethic and attitude that most companies are looking for. You just have to find the right company. Now, I will say that when you're writing your resume, if you're just putting that you are working for Allied Universal, that you're working in a security capacity, you might be selling yourself short. You are a security guard, but what do you do on a daily basis? For me, I interact with, I supervise, and I manage a group of 4 to 15 people. Now, in all reality, my job as a security guard with the security team that's here, I don't have a management title, but I've been working in this one location for over 4 years. I have more time under the roof of this building. I have more interactive hours with the homeless community, with the drug addicted community, the mental health community, right? With the law enforcement officers that work this area. I have more face time with the upper management of this location and the company and the parent company. When I write a resume out for a position that I'm looking to take, all of that goes onto that resume. Everything that I just listed, I don't list that I'm simply a security guard. I have mental health experience. I have outreach experience. I have crisis intervention experience. I am a communicator. I'm able to verbally communicate, communicate via written form. I'm able to communicate using social media and multimedia, right? All of the things that you do that are attached to the job, well outside of just being a security guard, that is what you have to articulate. And you do that every single day when you write your reports. The way that you write your reports, the detailed aspects of the reports that you write, you have to write about your life and your experience and your job the exact same way. You have to communicate and articulate what you do and what you bring to the table, far exceeding just being a security guard. And if you couple that with what you've done in terms of getting your degree at damn near 50 years old, someone will take a chance on you. Every person that you've worked with, every person that you've come in contact with, every manager, every regional director, every corporate person that you've come in contact with, those are the people that should be giving you references and letters of recommendation. Your ability to reach out to the people that you've protected, the people that you've helped. Hell, I would say go so far, if you're in a situation like me, have some of the homeless people write a letter of recommendation. Help them do it. Help them articulate what you mean to them, what you mean to that community, what you've done for them, how you've helped them. Imagine the impact of that. I think that you are selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short. And most oftentimes, people in our industry, they do that every single day. They sell themselves short. No different than the female who was questioning whether or not she could be a good security officer. Of course you can. And of course you can find work outside of the security industry if that is what you want to do. Both of you. You just got to believe in yourself. You got to be willing to take the chance, be willing to find the right environment, and be willing to plug both of yourselves in to get out of it what you want. And the opportunity is there for both of you. All right? Let me check these comments real quick. Oscar C says, I think people might take a smaller female as more gentle in their approach. Not necessarily a bad thing. Absolutely. Apollo Smoke says, I've been watching all of your videos studying up for my job that I just got yesterday. Hey, congratulations, bro. I wish you the best. Bro Morris says, women and snipers make the best something. Also, check your text later. Absolutely, I got you. Someone says, oh, this is Terry, says, most of the female guards that I've worked with that I felt comfortable would have my back in a hands-on situation were armed, okay? Many females that I've worked with in an unarmed capacity were usually asleep. Yeah, that's not good. Oh, it says on their phones, etc. Just simply not doing the job. The armed women, however, usually are squared away based on the ones that I've worked with. Well, I am not going to argue with that if that's your experience, but I know a bunch of dudes who've done the exact same shit. So it's not just about them being female, right? Morris says, we all have to die. You should be less concerned with the death and more concerned with how you can do what you need to do in the space that you have. Absolutely, man. You're born and you die. The dash in the middle, that is your life. What are you going to do with your dash every single day? Somebody says, thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Somebody says, hey, man, I'm 49. You popped my bubble, bro. Oscar says, I'm 38. Most companies value my maturity and age. I would say to that security guard dude, like, if you have the desire, go be a cop. Go be a cop or a sheriff's deputy, man. I saw a video where this guy was 70. He was like 72 or 73 and joined the police force. It was a small town, small police department, but he was like an old black dude. He was like, man, I've always wanted to be a cop. He was like, I've never allowed myself to go for it. And he had like gotten in shape. He was running. And this dude was like, he was legit. He was legit. And they told him, they were like, hey, you make it through the academy, you got a job. And this dude made it through the academy. I'm going to look him up and see if I can find this guy and maybe like interview him or something. But what a great story. I saw on Facebook, my son graduated from the University of Missouri. I saw on Facebook, because I follow the University of Missouri. This lady graduated yesterday, guys, or on Saturday. She graduated. She's 93 years old. Said that 7 decades ago, she enrolled at the University of Missouri. She dropped out. After 70 something years, she goes back and gets her degree at 93 years old. And she's in her gown, her cap and gown, like, talk your shit, ma. I respect it. Who is this? KWITT. Hope you are well from New Zealand, man. It's crazy. Only 1% here have security. It's just not that needed. People bring up New Zealand in almost every conversation. To my person that just said that from New Zealand, when COVID was happening, they were like, hey, they got New Zealand under control in like 3 months or whatever it was. People will say in New Zealand, there's no gun violence. New Zealand is a country that's about the size of Rhode Island. And it also has a very homogenous population, which means that demographically, everyone is, for the most part, right? Or some other, similar demographic, similar religion, similar in terms of how people carry themselves and what they believe, right? When you have people that are of similar mindset, similar race, similar background, similar religion, it's very easy to get people to push in the same direction, right? It's very easy to get people to push in the same direction. The greatest thing about America is also its greatest downfall. The greatest thing about America is its diversity and its individuality. That's also the worst, because everybody here thinks about themselves first. They think about themselves first. They think about themselves over anything and everything else. And it's often very difficult to get people to work together or push towards the same goal. Now, I just said that, and the person from New Zealand is like, I wouldn't call it that. He's like, I don't agree with that, but that's my thought process. He says, we're actually becoming extremely diverse. I think people come here with that same direction because they want an escape. So everyone's got that mindset. I respect that. You're there, I'm not. I will say that I would love to visit New Zealand at some point in time. It looks like a beautiful country, right? Beautiful country. All right. I don't think I have anything else tonight. Anybody got any questions for me? Feel free to ask a question. I'm going to stay on here for 2 more minutes and answer questions. Two minutes to answer questions. My wife's making quesadillas tonight. I'm excited. I love quesadillas. Question was, what do you do? I work armed security, and I instruct people on how to be better security guards on YouTube. Oh my God, K-Dot or Drake? You guys are killing me. I'm a Drake fan. K-Dot won the rap war. He won. I give it to him. I sent over an email. Have a great night. I will check my email when I'm done. The guy from New Zealand says you gained a sub. Have a good night. Thank you. I'm happy to have subscribers from all over the world. Shout out your email. I want to reach out to you. You guys can reach me at Safe Port Secure. SAFEPORT SECURE. SafePortSecure@gmail.com. One more time, SafePortSecure@gmail.com. All one word. He says, I have you online admitting the Canadian Karen's demise. Ain't nobody getting rid of Drake. That ain't gonna happen. He got beat. Hey man, Mike Tyson lost fights, right? Michael Jordan lost. Kobe lost. It happens. It's okay. There was nobody else in the entire rap industry that was willing to go toe-to-toe with Kendrick. Drake went toe-to-toe. He put out some good jabs. He threw a couple haymakers. In the end, he lost. And he goes out on his shield. There's nothing to be ashamed of. That's one thing that I think people need to hear more often. Especially, let me just say this. I'm not going to go on a rant. I swear I'm not going to go on a rant. Black men need to hear that it is okay to lose. A lot of death, a lot of destruction, a lot of bad choices, a lot of unnecessary decisions are made in the black community amongst black men based on the thought that they have to win. If you were to ask me what I think is the most amazing aspect of working in security over being a police officer, is that we don't have to win. We don't have to win, right? I go up and deal with somebody that's throwing a fit in the store. Hey, I need you to leave, bro. I'm sorry that you're upset. I get it, okay? Don't kill the messenger. You got to go. Fuck you. Look, I get that you're upset. I understand. Matter of fact, I'm going to back up 20 feet, all right? I'm not here to fight with you. Matter of fact, I don't want to fight with you. You can go. I don't want to fight with you. I just want you to leave. Fuck you. Okay, everybody back up. We're calling the cops. We're done. You've now put this person in a position where they have a decision to make. He can leave and walk his happy ass out the store. He can stand there and wait for the cops to inevitably, whenever they get there, show up. Or he can take 2 or 3 steps towards me and I'm going to deal with him however I choose. Your move, right? As opposed to law enforcement where it's like, hey, do this. Fuck you. Okay, and now we know how this is going to end now, right? And in the end, that type of response of, I told you to do something, you're not doing it, now I'm going full board. How does that generally end? Right? Without going on a rant, how does that generally end? Best case scenario, the law enforcement department pays out a huge settlement of taxpayer money. And somebody on the other side is harmed or killed. And a wedge is brought between the community and law enforcement. And the problem goes round and round and round. So the aspect of not having to win is so important because it allows us to de-escalate situations to where we don't have to engage and have a finality of issue. We can pass it off to law enforcement. We can let the person leave. We can disengage and come back and try and re-engage this person in a conversation. That's the beauty of working in private security. And in the black community, in the male black community, that has not been something that has been taught or accepted or seen as acceptable. And when you look at this whole Drake Kendrick shit, instead of people being like, you know, I'm excited. I'm not a Kendrick Lamar fan, but for the most part, if we're being 100% honest, if we're keeping it a buck, his music generally, sonically, in terms of being able to listen to it in the car and replay it, it sucks. I'm sorry. I don't want to have to listen to a fucking college dissertation put to music. I don't. I want to listen to music and enjoy it. Okay? Generally, his music sucks. He makes really thought-provoking albums. But in a long enough timeline, and I used to be a DJ, over the past 12 years, he's put out maybe 5 or 6 songs that I really like. Now, on the other hand, Drake is the exact polar opposite. You're not going to get a lot of deep, introspective shit with Drake. But you're going to dance, and you're going to shake your ass, and you're going to bop your head, right? Neither one of those are bad. Some people like Pepsi, some people like Coke. And I wish that more people in this situation, because I think it's a microcosm of the black community, I wish more people could be like, I don't like the fact that it got so aggressive and that it got so nasty and so greasy and so slimy. I don't like that. I don't like people talking about people's kids and bringing people's wives into it. That is unnecessary because, as you see, there was a shooting that more than likely came from this entire thing. I wish more people could just be like, hey, both of y'all, great job. You put out some music. We all had a good time. You won, you lost, and we'll do this again next year. All right. And I wish more people in the black community would just be like, hey, it's okay if someone tells you to go fuck yourself, to just be like, all right, fine, like, have a good day. Like, you don't have to get into it, fight, and kill this dude because he stepped on your shoes or you got a problem or something. Like, it doesn't have to get to that point. It's okay to walk away. You're not less of a man by not getting into it with somebody. You're not less, period. Let's just leave it there. You're not less. You're not less in general, right? That's grown man shit. It's okay to just take the loss and walk away and fight again another day. I like that. See, I'm a rapper too. There you go. All right, guys, I got to get out of here, man. It's all about quesadillas. I'm starving. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for listening to me. Email me if you ever want to be a part of my podcast. All right, see ya.